name is Megan. I'm 17 now. The first time really started to love reading was probably kindergarten. And I just love the Sam I Am books. I love books because it's just like an adventure, an escape, another opportunity and experience. I lived all over Cache Valley. Elementary school, that's when COVID started, and COVID made it so I had online school for a while. And through online school, I started reading a bit more books that were descriptive in nature. And when I went to Mount Logan Middle School, that's when it really got worse, and it was more open and readily accessible, and it was normalized. I haven't had a phone until this year, February 14th is when I got it. The stuff that I accessed online was a lot more roses and happy, like romance books, like maybe kissing, but it wasn't like descriptive about explicit sex. And the books that I had found and been recommended were definitely that, explicit sex. When I started reading books like that, and then I started reading more because it was more open in middle school, it piqued my interest and I started to read more like that. Probably because I was just beginning to figure out human nature. My hormones were beginning to change. I was starting to get my period, and I also am like really good at learning. I love to learn. I found everything I could on it, and I got heavily into that stuff. It became an addiction. I had to read something like that, or I didn't get that fix of dopamine, whatever you want to call it. Progressively got worse because after I found out what it was and what they do, basically, I felt like I needed that connection with someone. So I went online and I chatted with pretty much pedophiles and a whole bunch of other people and just tried to find that connection. I put myself and my family at risk. So I acted like the character in my book. Like life was the book for me. Because in my mental view, which I was struggling so bad, and I just didn't understand it completely. I was struggling so bad, and that was an escape. That was like the only thing that would make me happy. I was a super extroverted kid, but the more I read this, the more I thought, I don't need friends, I just need this connection. So I started distancing myself not only from friends, I grew to hate myself, I grew to hate others, I hated my mother, I hated my sister, I hated everyone. As it continued to get worse, I started lying more and hiding things more. I had to go to juvie a few times because of how bad my relationship with my mother was. It definitely stemmed from with normal romance, because I loved that love connection that was stated in books, which can really be beautiful. Then it went into more of an explicit, and the explicit definitely brought me to that point. This necklace is a safety pin with a chain. It's a suicide prevention necklace, and it's a promise to stay alive. It's a safety pin. People literally make brain neurons that connect to the thought. As a kid, if you read that, you can't get it out of your head. You can't just close the book and forget about it. It ingrains in your brain, and it will be there forever. You can't get that innocence back, and you will not be able to unsee those words, basically. So when people say that you can just close the book if you don't like what you're reading, I heavily disagree, because if you're given that book in the first place, you're gonna read it, and if you read it, you have that in your head. If it's in schools, it's affecting people that it's not helping, and they're being suggested it, so it's being normalized from teachers, from librarians, from their peers, so it just recirculates into teenagers, and so it's given over and over until they are eventually numb to this and have not been able to peel back that like film that literally covers your every sense to it, that you can't see what's right and what's wrong. So it's like putting a blindfold over someone and expecting them to run a 5K. Fourth Wing, that was heavily influenced by peer pressure because it was a very popular book. Everyone read it, and it was like a popularity contest of who knew what was in the book. A friend who recommended it to me specifically had those pages marked. The point isn't about romance or a cute love story anymore, it's about getting your reader in that aroused state. So it's like, that shouldn't be in children's libraries. Why let schools have this on the off chance that it'll help someone? In actuality, it is more harmful than it is helpful. I think that if that teacher hadn't initially recommended that author, I wouldn't have seen it as quite as normal.
I don't think the librarian even knew how butterfly effect that would be, because I'm sure she was just trying to share a cool story with the awesome reader. I don't think she understood how detrimental that book in my hands became.
I wish if I could go back, I would take all of those stupid books out of my hand and just let myself be innocent, because it's so hard to stay innocent these days. So just let them have it for as long as they possibly can. If you're watching this and you're just used to reading books like this, I advise you set them down for a long time, like 3 months, and then see how different you act and how different you think. I have been able to be a happier and more genuine and nicer person, and just know that there's always someone that's gonna stick up for you, and if it has to, let it be me, because I can say what you need to. Like, I can say what people need to say, even when they don't understand what they need to. If that makes sense.